see, but more recently in filling out the application, you're familiar with it, and it was fascinating exactly the level of detail that you were capable of pulling into that. If you get there, if you get to that 6, why is it going to be an opportunity missed if the governor doesn't pick you?
Thank you. No counting chickens before they're hatched. I take this very seriously, and I got to make it through this body first, but I'm really grateful for the opportunity to be here with you all today. Let me go ahead and start. Okay, well, I know most of you, but I know you in different ways or different pieces of my background, so let me just introduce myself. I'm Katherine Hurst Miller. I'm a board-certified condominium and plan development attorney with the law firm of Wright & Casey in New Smyrna Beach. I have wanted to apply to be a judge ever since my first term on this commission, sitting where you all are. That's when I first started thinking about the importance of judges, not just on my individual cases, but the broader role of the judiciary and the importance of having prepared principal judges on all the dockets. I feel like I'm here because I'm on a path that has led me to this place, and I truly feel a calling to become a judge. I grew up in Lubbock, Texas, with public servants for parents, and I got a community service scholarship to Vanderbilt University. I had a academic scholarship to Stetson College of Law, and an opportunity to come out to Daytona Beach to summer intern with the law firm of Cobb Cole, and they gave me a job offer in 2006. I rose up through the ranks in the litigation department, became a partner, got to work on some really big and interesting cases, and developed my own little group of clients in condominium and homeowners association work. And when Brooks Casey gave me a job offer in 2016 to join his firm for condo work, it was a great fit. I've since become board certified in condo and plan development. I was the first attorney in Volusia, 5 other counties to do so, and really serve as like a general counsel to about 100 different condominium and homeowners associations. I also have some small business clients and some appellate work that I do. As far as community service, this community, the legal community and the broader community have been very generous, giving me opportunities to lead and serve. I've served as the chair of the local young lawyers, the president of the Volusia Flagler Association for Women Lawyers, the president of the statewide Florida Bar Young Lawyers Division. In my community service, I served on this commission. I've been on the board of the Junior League of Daytona Beach. I am currently on the board of St. Barnabas Episcopal School and the board of the Museum of Arts and Sciences, where I served 3 terms as board president. And so it's a great time in my life and my career to take these experiences and this preparation and apply to be a judge.
There were some time constraints in applying for a position circuit level. But you put it, you have 3 that were in at the appellate. Where's your heart?
My heart is in circuit court. It's where I practice. It's where I primarily appear and have clients. I was not eligible. I didn't want to put in for anything while I was on a commission. And so then when I got off this commission, there have been 3 opportunities in the appellate court that I put in for. I'm particularly looking at this last go around when there were so many openings. But currently there's an opening on the appellate court I didn't put in for. I just put in for this one.
Okay. So that was a conscious decision.
Correct.
Okay.
My focus is now on trial court.
All right. And when being in trial court, how many actual civil trials have you significantly participated in?
I had 3 civil jury trials. I've had maybe about 9 or 10 civil bench trials, and I believe 2 or 3 family law trials.
What did the jury trials entail?
My first jury trial was a 2-week in Vero Beach. It was an insurance agent defense case. It ended with a hung jury. My partner, who was senior counsel on the case, obviously myself, my first case, but the judge and the senior partner had never had a hung jury in a civil trial, and we thought, like, how can this, like, we thought it was so cut and dry. So we were preparing for the retrial, and the case settled. So that was one of my most influential cases. Then I've had 2 in Daytona, in DeLand. One with Judge Rouse, that was also insurance agent case, failure to procure insurance. And one with Judge Perkins. I think it was probably his first trial when he became a judge. It was a truck accident on I-4.
Were you first chair on those 2?
jury trials I was not, I was second chair. The bench trials, I think I have been, on all but one.
Was Bruce the lead?
Bruce Hanna, correct, on all of them. Yeah, he was my mentor. He was very significant and impactful in the way I approach my cases. And now I am the chair of the Florida Bar Special Committee on Mentoring and co-chair. And I really took that position because of the impact he had had and several mentors have had on me, big influence on my career.
It's too bad we couldn't model his voice and temperament.
He was so scary to me, and he had this gravelly, low voice, and he was so serious, and he would say, all the time I would run in with a question, or his office was next to mine, and I would just run in with question, and he would say, is there a rule for that? Is there a statute for that? Is there a case for that? And I would run back out, and then I would run it out, like, okay, I've got it. But just that training, and so that's the way I think now is, wait, what's the rule, what's the statute, what's the case, no, just thinking out loud, because I'm what they call a nonlinear thinker. It's like, but I have to organize myself, and he sort of trained that into me. Trying to be organized and methodical. You got to be methodical on cases in the law.
Tell us about what you're doing with the mentoring committee.
So Gary Lesser, the president of the Florida Bar, approached me a little more than a year ago and said he had this idea for mentoring, and he had it for a long time. And no Florida Bar president had tried to implement a statewide committee. And in fact, he had been trying to encourage other presidents to do it, and they said, you can't do it. The state's too big, it's too complicated. But he was really insistent, and he's gone around and told like all these bar associations that Florida is going to have the best mentoring program in the country. And right now we have like none. So a mentoring program would be good, but the best is a lot to ask for. So I get to work with a really talented group of lawyers from across the state. Travis is on the committee, Zach Zerowest, Mike Sasso, a bunch of people I knew from the Young Lawyers Division, and we are creating this. So we've created. We had to think about like, what would the program be? What would it consist of? How would we pair people up? And we're going to use a technology called MentorClick. We've vetted a bunch of different technology companies, and it's almost like a dating app where you put in your profile, your preferences, and you take a personality test. It's 10 questions, and it's visual. It's like, do you prefer a group of people or a solitary person? Reading or a movie? And you click, and it will recommend 3 mentors to a mentee to say, your practice area overlaps, your interest overlap, your geographic area overlaps with this person, they'd be a good mentor for you. The company does it for Fortune 500 companies, MentorClick. And so we're going to bring it to Florida and implement. We've signed up for 400 spots, so we can have up to 400. And it's specifically for lawyers in their first 3 years of practice in firms of 3 or fewer. So we're starting out that group. But as we've been talking about it, people have said, oh, the state attorney's office would like it, the public defender's office would like it, this government office, there's a demand for it. Big firms are interested in it. So I'm really excited to have created a program from scratch.
Let me ask you a question. In your application, I read from it, I want you to talk about it. It says, from my personal convictions and my professional experiences, I believe that judges must interpret the law with fidelity to the text. I strongly believe judges must not make law, but must construe and apply the law as written. So what are your personal convictions and your professional experiences that lead you to make those statements?
Well, as far as personal convictions, my dad was an Army officer, and I believe in following the chain of command. That was sort of drilled into me. And so that means when you're a trial judge, it is not your opportunity to make law, right? That you are following law that has been created by the legislature, or you're following law that has been interpreted or created by a higher court, and it's not a statute or something. I want to be respectful about the way I talk about other judges, but I had 2 experiences that are sort of like negative experiences. One, as a law student, opportunity to see a judge, a federal judge, and she was very results oriented. She would come back to chambers after a hearing, or she would be looking at the filings, and she would tell us how she wanted us to rule, or how she wanted to rule, and have her clerks and interns get her there. And maybe she had done the work in her head, I don't know, but she didn't tell the clerks and the interns how she got, it wasn't like apply this law and let's walk through and let's see where it, I watched this judge be outcome oriented. And that was really like disheartening. It's probably why I didn't do any kind of clerkship or internship after law school. It's why I went right into the practice. judges, because I thought that's how judges work. And I also had a case, a trial, where the judge talked about, well, I know the 7 justices in the black robes on the Florida Supreme Court have said this, but I think what they really meant was that. And just to see judges reject, walking through the steps, to me, it's one thing to be an advocate, to say, oh, I want this result, let's manufacture a way to get there. It's just so antithetical to me that that's how a judge should be. And I've had so many good examples in the circuit and statewide, watching judges, have no preconception of how the case is going to land, but walk through the steps. And that's the kind of judge I would like to be.
What is the Suddenly Joyful Global mission?
My friend Delora Butts-Lucas wanted to create a new charitable entity, and she named it Suddenly Joyful. I think that comes from a period in her life that she was experiencing joy and God's grace and glory, and it supports local charitable initiatives and international missions work. So we've worked with schools in Africa that don't have consistent water supplies, and creating with the Naomi Bechere School, like water tubs to collect water, and we've created playgrounds and things for the school there in Africa. So that was really fun to get to work. So many of my entities that I get to work with are big charitable institutions. This was her, in her head, she created it, and I got to be on the first board, and I served 2 terms on the board and enjoyed it. But I've since come off, because that's primarily a fundraising thing that she needs for that.
Thank you.
Talk to me about running elections.
I have lots of thoughts about elections, primarily from seeing my spouse run a contested campaign in 2020, which is quite a year with the pandemic and the presidential election. Really important to know who you are as a candidate, and then to be nimble as things change during the election year. And I'm a different candidate than he was, for sure. I have a different background and different experiences and different strengths. But I think that the 2 things that are most important in an election, a judicial election, are reputation and name recognition. And the candidate that has them both will win every time. And so I hope I have a good reputation among lawyers and people who pay attention to the judiciary and the practice of law. I hope I develop that and a good reputation as a judge by working hard. And then I think I just get out there as much as I could to develop the name recognition. Especially, I think it's a gift. If this seat goes to a lawyer from Volusia or Flagler, and they get to be in Putnam, and they get the exposure to a new legal community, I think it's a gift to get to be present with a whole new group of folks.
What, did the budget surprise you by the time all was said and done in a judicial meeting?
I don't know that Chris Miller's budget surprised me, but I have seen other elections where it has, and certainly, that was one county, and so for 4, 2 media markets, you got the Orlando, Volusia market, and you got then the Jacksonville, which is the Putnam and St. John's market. You got mailers. We did a little bit of everything, right? We did radio, we did TV, we did online, we did mailers, and those things take a lot of money. I just saw, a very expensive race in St. Johns County, for both candidates, spent much more than Chris did in his election.
Yeah, and it's hard to solicit money from people you can't do anything for.
Yeah, the judge cannot. So the judge has to have the committee. And that was one thing that I think sometimes people who are sort of in that donor class expect to be asked for money, and the judge cannot. So I've seen some people use their campaign consultant as the money asker. Some people use their campaign committee as the money askers.
As we've seen more challenges you with that, and certain of them can be daunting in terms of the economics. So that, I'm just curious.
And this will have a quick turnaround, because this seat will be up in 2024. So this judge won't have the opportunity to sit very long before, people might be filing against him or her. And they won't have the opportunity to go to judicial college this year. They'll be in the 2024 judicial colleges. So this judge will have to hit the ground running, both, thinking about election, but doing a good job is the job, and that's the main thing.
Catherine, briefly tell us a little bit about your family.
sitting on this commission, I got to know Liz Blackburn, and I just thought so highly of her, and I said, our family law lawyer at Coppell had retired, wrote a good and she was amazing, and it's like, let's bring in another family law attorney to provide that full service law experience, and so the firm hired Liz Blackburn, and I think the idea was I was gonna learn a little bit about her cases, and then she got like the very next appointment very quickly. And so she left her cases, and because I had some interest and because I had done some appellate family, I managed them. It's sort of like my condo practice. It takes a very specific personality to be a family lawyer. And I don't know that I have the personality for a family lawyer. You have to draw really strict boundaries or your clients will invade them. And I want to be available to my clients at all. I got condo and HOA folks calling me on the nights and weekends. And I don't know about your family law practice, but you will get invaded with questions at all hours if you don't have strict boundaries, which I did not do. But I really enjoyed it, mostly in front of Karen Foxman at the time. She's who my family law trials were in front of. I enjoyed watching her on a docket. She had really strict docket management, and enjoyed that area of law. But then my firm hired Pam Masters, who was just excellent at family law. She really carried that, and has her own firm for collaborative divorce.
So you just commented about Karen, I just then flipped to, wanted to look at your list of references. So you did a good amount of work with Karen, Foxman, or Judge Foxman?
I had 2 or 3 trials. They were small. Only one of the cases came with me to Wright and Casey. So again, this was in the 2015-16 timeframe. And so then I moved firms to focus on condo law. I only brought one client with me, and she had continuing legal issues. We had the paternity issues, child support issues. We ended up going back before the judge on modification of time sharing. We ended up changing the child's last name because of some bad activity we alleged the father was engaging in. So had several follow-ups. Appeared a number of times on those in front of Alex Alvarez, her magistrate, hearing officer, and he was excellent.
And what were the traits that she demonstrated that you found attractive?
Really good docket management, kept it moving. And as I understand, the family law dockets in Volusia are different than Putnam, because the family law dockets, I think they have trial weeks in Volusia, even though Judge Foxman would set you for date specific. But I talked to Judge Washington about the way she's doing it, and because she has family dependency, delinquency, injunctions, and truancy, she has, trial days instead of trial weeks. So again, she sets her date specific, Judge Washington, but you might not have 2 days back to back if you get a 2-day trial.
If the situation ever was presented to you, what are your thoughts about imposing the death penalty?
So that's something that I'm comfortable doing with the jury's recommendation. On family law, be criminal, of course, but no problem philosophically with that.
Absolutely. Anything else? Thank you. As you leave, is there anything you don't want this committee to forget when we go back in the other room and start talking?
No, I'm just really grateful for your time. I'm sorry my application was so long, and I'm grateful for you all taking the time to read it and review it, and hope you see my name to the governor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much.
Do you intend to do calls or communications today?
Yeah, I'll call you.
Okay. Thank you very much.